This was a very impromptu video, but I felt I just needed to get this off my chest and just, I just feel like this needed to be said. If you follow me on Instagram, on my IGTV, there's a video that I put up talking about relationships. And in that video, I stated how my relationships all across the board were actually pretty good, in the sense that my communication was open with everyone and everybody understood what I was going through, or at least everybody was aware of what I was going through. But regardless, regardless of how open I was still fired anyway. I won't go into detail about how or what transpired in, the process of that happening. All I will talk about is my mental health aspect of it. Basically, I feel betrayed. Here I am thinking that I had a place where I was, being heard, and that I had people willing to work with me and help me work through the different, issues and mood swings as they came. But unfortunately, I feel like that was kind of just that was the reason that they needed in order to kind of phase me out, so to speak. I put my confidence in people who couldn't really understand, let alone were willing to understand what I was going through. And in the end, it's like I'm not really sure how to feel about it, to be honest, because on one hand, like I said, I'm hurt because I thought that I had a working connection, but also I'm still hurt because I saw it coming. I just knew, unfortunately, I knew that it was only a matter of time before this was going to be something that eventually was like my downfall. Because the really sucky part about it is, if I would have never said anything, I probably still would be in this same situation, because then it'll be, well, you had all this going on, why didn't you ever say anything? Or it'll been that they see it as me using it as an excuse to try to get over, so nothing bad would happen. I feel like there is no win in this situation. And I kept myself open and honest and came to people in my time of need. The one thing you shouldn't tell people to do, if you don't mean it, is to tell them to come to you if you ever need anything. Don't tell people that if that's not going to be your intention. Like, it's very frustrating, because now you're sending these mixed signals. People like me, or people who are suffering mentally, even if you aren't diagnosed, people need people. And if you open that door and tell them, oh, you can always come to me if you need something and we can work something together, and that's not your intention, never make that a thing. Don't make it known. One of my friends I spoke to, well, actually, a couple of my friends I spoke to were saying that it also hurts because it's like I was abandoned. And it's very true. In my time that I really wanted help, and the time that I really wanted things to be figured out and work through, that's when I was left to fend on my own. That's when I was just kind of stuck in the dark and expecting to just kind of pull myself out with with nothing to hold on to. I will mention one thing that was said, and that was, as much as everybody cares about you and as much as we want the best for you, this is still a business. And I'm paraphrasing now, but we can't have you having bad days. And that made me feel like I was drowning. Allow me to paint a scenario. Say you're at a pool party and you and a couple of friends are playing at the pool, and you let them know, I can get in the pool, but, you know, I sometimes panic if I go too deep. And your friends are like, okay, I understand. And yet it seems like every time y'all go, y'all get closer and closer and closer to that deeper end. And it's getting bad. And you start telling your friends, hey, this is starting to get too deep. Maybe we should come back. And your friends say they hear you, yet you're still hanging on the edge at this deep end, and they're still going and playing and swimming and doing their own thing. Eventually, you go too deep and you end up drowning. And those scenes in the movie where everybody's standing above the water, watching you sink slowly to the bottom. That's how I feel. Good intentions are not enough. And if you intend to actually be there and help someone, then you need to stand behind it. I shouldn't have to be made to hide what I'm feeling. I shouldn't have to be made to try to figure out how to turn off my emotions or turn off my mental illness. You should be more understanding and more willing to hear where I'm coming from and actually work with me to make this a better situation. If I had broken my arm or broken my leg, there would have been a plan made to still make sure that I was a valued member of the team. But because my illness is not physical, my illness does not have a measurement that can be seen by the naked eye, it's very difficult for people to take it as seriously as that. Because when you suffer, you suffer. There is no level of how people suffer. You just do. And grieving and recovery all shows up in different ways. The point I'm trying to make is I don't regret what I did. I don't regret sharing my struggles. I don't regret making everybody known of what I suffer through on a daily basis. Because then I can't go back into my own brain and be like, well, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't this? Why didn't that? I can't say that because I was open and honest about what I needed and what I was going through does not determine was I don't consider that the determining factor of what ended up happening. I had an issue that I was willing to work with everybody on how to fix. And it's not on me that not everybody was willing to make that a thing. And I have to remind myself of that. I have to remind myself that it's not my fault that I'm suffering and not everybody understands. So I don't know. I guess the best thing to tell you guys at this point is don't hide who you are. Period. Don't hide who you are. Because at the end of it all, I would rather not have lied to myself. Because I know lying to myself would have made it worse. I am not my diagnosis, but my diagnosis is a part of me. And unfortunately, for all parties involved, that is something that has to be understood. I have bipolar disorder. I have borderline personality disorder. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. God knows I might have something else going on too. But regardless, I am still Brenda. I am still me. I am still me. So I thank you for watching. I thank you for listening. I welcome your comments. I welcome your shares. I hope that I can build a family here. So guys, please subscribe, like, all the things. I really don't like boosting myself like this. But as always, I love you guys, and I thank you so much for being here for me. Thank you for being a family outside of my family, and for giving me a community that I can feel heard and loved in. Sorry. Regardless, stay square, sunflowers.